Welcome to EPG Padasala. I am Professor Rajavelu, Maritime History and Marine Archaeology, Tamil University, Tanjavur. Now we are going to see Indian epigraphy. The module is General Content and Format of Inscriptions. To know the general contents of the inscription, format of inscription, to understand the contents and their meaning, significance of the contents and format of utilizing for the various aspects of history and other disciplines. Indian subcontinent rich in epigraphical wealth. As we already seen that nearly 1 lakh inscriptions have been copied and preserved in the Office of Epigraphy and other government agencies. The contents and the formats of the inscriptions are vary and variety. We are having a variety of inscriptions in India, so we are going to see in this lesson. The earliest known inscriptions in India is Ashokan inscriptions. These inscriptions are considered as a Dharma Lipi. Ashoka himself mentioned in his rock edicts that is all belong to Dharma Lipi. Since he proclaimed Dharma in his most of the inscriptions, it is called so. However, Ashoka inscription started with a praise of Lord as Devanam Piya Piyadasi. It is in Prakrit form Devanam Priya Priyadarshi in Sanskrit. But it is in Prakrit language, Devanam Piya Piyadasi. It gives the meaning, beloved of gods. So he starts with a Mangala Sloka, beloved of gods. The edicts of Ashoka varied in nature. They are written on cave surface and rocket surface and on the pillars above all. The central theme of Ashokan edicts is he himself proclaimed Dharma, a code of morals which he believed to be the teachings of Buddha. They are not Buddhist doctrines as we found in Buddhist literature, like philosophical teachings, Nirvana, Arya Sangha, that is the canonical form of Buddhist Dharma. He has not proclaimed anything in that. They are all related to practical code of morals. In some of the edicts, we come across the regnal year of the king, like the 13th regnal year, 9th regnal year, etc. It is recorded in the Ashokan inscriptions. We get administrative reformation and information, local affairs and official officers, welfare measurement, etc. in the Ashokan edicts. These are the fine example of Ashokan pillars. Variety of Ashokan pillars we have in the subcontinent. The classification of inscriptions, now we are going to see the categories. Generally, inscriptions can be classified according to their content. Broadly, they are divided into two categories. One is donative and the other one is panegyric records. We have several other categories when we look into the inscriptions. Royal donatives and panegyric inscription, that is prasasti. Prasasti are the most important portions we found in the stone as well as copper plate inscriptions. They are purely eulogetic in connection with the king's praise, mostly related to donations. Format and content of the inscriptions. Generally, the inscription starts with the Mangala Sloka, that is invocatory verses. In the early days, in the early inscriptions, we do not come across this kind of invocatory verses. It starts what the donor is given, what the donee is receiving. That's all. They are all in label inscriptions. We don't have invocatory verses in the early inscriptions of South India, especially in Tamil Nadu. But in North India also we have the label inscription. It doesn't have any invocatory verses. But later on, the invocatory portions is added. In general, inscriptions begin with the worship of God or auspicious word occupies. The words expressed as Siddham, Sri, Swasistri, Sri, Namasto, etc. are starting in the beginning. Sometime the auspicious symbols or marks will be there. Adikumbha inscription of Kharavela of 2nd century BCE is a fine example for this. We have Ujjain symbol as well as Srivastava symbol in the beginning of the Kharavela inscriptions. In most of the copper plates of India, the gods or goddesses figure will be there on the top of the plates to indicate invocatory verses. Sometimes auspicious symbols are there along with the auspicious words. In some of the copper plates or royal order, the place of issue is also there. King issued in various camping places, also narrated in his military camp, that is Jas Kanda Vara. There are some interesting inscription in this record. In some of the stone inscription or some of the copper plate inscriptions of Cholas, the king issued the order while he was taking bath in his bathroom. So it is categorically mentioned where he issued. Where it shows that he is a 24-hour servant to the subjects. The processes. Processes are the important unit, as already I have mentioned. It occurs in most of the inscriptions of the medieval period, which gives the achievements of the kings and his predecessors. One can view the chronological order of the kings in the portion. Genealogy list and the origin also narrated in the processes. Lineage of the kings narrated, which help us to understand the political history of the particular dynasty. For example, the Chola, they claims that they were the solar origin. So it starts with Karigala of Sangam period and ends with up to that issuing king. In most of the copper plates of South India, the genealogy lists are narrated, which are in processi, they are in the verse form, in poetic form. The king's victories and his achievements are all listed in these processi portions. During Rajaraja first, he started to create the processi in a poetic form, a very beautiful manner. He is the man who innovated many things. He innovated the processi also in the inscriptions. His inscription starts with Tirumagal Pola Perinila Chelvium. His son Rajendra Chola inscription, the processi starts with Thirumanni Valara, Iranila Madandi, Pochayo Pavim, and followed by many victories of the king. He went up to even Ganges and he went up to the Southeast Asian countries. They are all narrated in the processi portion. Then they are narrated in chronological sequences. Rajaraja first conquered the Kandalur Salai, first in Kerala, and also he conquered Ceylon. It is mentioned in his processi portion. He went to Vengi, Tadigaipadi, Ceylon, Kollam, etc. are mentioned in the processi. So it is easy to come to conclusion that whatever he went and conquered, it is all narrated in the processi. Most of the kings given this processi after Rajaraja also. Processi are most important contents of the inscriptions, already I have mentioned. One can get all the political information and achievements of the king or kings of particular dynasty. The physical appearance of the king, lavish praises of his own and his ancestors, moral qualities and reputations, his learning and artistic skills are narrated in the processes along with these victories. The main purport of the inscription is narrated in the end of the text in most cases. This portion is followed by concluding portions. It is known as benedictory. After processi or Mangala Sloga versus invocatory, the king name and his regnal year would be there. The purport of the inscription occupies in the next portion of the inscription. The Aihole pillar inscription records the erection of Jaina temple. Many Sadhavana records in the caves of central India records the scooping of caves, chaityas, vigaras and erection of gods and goddesses are narrated after processi. According to K. Nilakanta Sastri, he said that processi is nothing but Poikirti, just a eulogy of the king, just narrated in praise of a king. It is narrated. We should not believe the processi at all like that. But that is not correct. Most of the processi, they gave accurate physical and political events of the king. For example, in the copper plate of Rajendra, he has narrated the physical features of the whatever he conquered the area, the physical features he has narrated. If you ask a question for the modern student, which is the highest rainfall area in world means, immediately we will say that is Sirabunji. It is narrated in the Rajendra Chola inscriptions or Rajendra Chola copper plate, Tangada Saral, Vangala Desam. Always it is a rainfalling area. He said in the poetic manner, Tangada Saral, Vangala Desam. So, according to K. Neelakanta Sastri, he said without knowing the meaning of the processes, he said that most of the processes are just eulogy or in praise of the king. That is not correct. Most of the copper plate inscriptions or processive portions of the copper plate or inscriptions, they are saying a truthful manner of the king's victory. The inscription contents the royal donations to temples are dominantly recorded in the inscription. Specification of gift is narrated and boundaries of land privileges to be enjoyed by the guarantees are also narrated. Sometimes the occasion of donation also narrated during lunar or solar eclipse or Sankrantis. Astronomical details are given in the inscription. This is Rajaraja inscription from Tanjavur. It says that in his 29th regnal year, he completed the entire temple activities. He started the temple, built the temple around 2006 CE and completed it within 4 years. 2010 he completed and he gave several donations to the temple, including his families and his subjects. It is all narrated. A minute details also he has given in the longest inscription. This is the early inscription in the Pragadishwara temple. The benedictory portion. The benedictory portion is appeared in the last portion of the inscription. In the early inscription, it is not appeared. In the medieval period inscriptions, the benedictory portion is invariably appeared. What benefit will we get if we get the donation? This kind of words are narrated in this. In South India, this kind of benedictory verses appeared in many variety. Sometimes it appears in verses. The last portion of the inscriptions narrated, we have signature portions or verses will be there. In Tamil Nadu, in the land donations, long list of witnesses' name appeared in the inscriptions before the signatory portions. The witness name, his occupation, his title, his role in the village or nadu or administration are narrated. This kind of information helps us to know the administrative system of the particular dynasty. Even a name will give some history. Japanese professor Karashima and Y. Subrairu has taken the names of the individuals, names of the donors appeared in the inscriptions. They have written a very long research book on these aspects. The personal names of the Chola Chola names, Chola inscriptions. They draw many political and historical events through the names of the individuals. These witnesses' name occupy above the benedictory words. Benedictory words in the late inscriptions of 15th-16th century records, we do come across some kind of vulgarity words appeared in the inscriptions. They are all in late period. It narrates if the people not keeping the donations, what kind of sins they will get is narrated in the benedictory portions. Types of inscriptions. There are various types of inscriptions we have come across in India. The first one is copper plate. Generally, land grants appeared in copper plates. The copper plate generally issued for the purpose of land donations. Copper plate in Sanskrit began during Gupta period. The copper plates in South India are many huge in nature. Earliest copper plates issued by Pallavas in South India belong to Pallavas, narrates the donation of lands to Brahmins. The Tiruvalangadu copper plate is having 55 plates, consisting of 55 plates stuck in a ring. The Indalur copper plate, recently in Tamil Nadu state government, they recorded this one, they discovered this one at Tiruvandalur, issued by the king Rajendra II and subsequently other kings also. It has 85 copper plates. This is the largest copper plate in India so far found. This copper plate consisting of 86 plates, Rajadi Raja issued this one in 1058 CE. and donation was extended during the time of Rajendra II and Veera Rajendra. All these inscriptions annexed in these copper plates later on. These copper plates we have narration of land donations, its boundaries, the beneficiary people and privileges, etc. In the Vijayanagara copper plates, we have figures of gods and goddesses on the top portion of the copper plate, and at the end, signature of the engraver of the plate in the respective language. Suppose even in Tamil country, they issued many copper plates. In the signatory portions, we have Telugu signature. In the Telugu characters, they have signed their names. This is the early copper plate inscription issued by the Pallava king in Tamil characters. It mentions the donation of land. This is very important inscription, copper plate inscription issued by Rajaraja first. When the Southeast Asian Sri Vijaya king requested the king Rajaraja to permit him to build a Sodamani Vigara at Nagapattinam, he allowed him, he issued a copper plate that is known as Anemangalam Seppodugal. He gave a village namely Anemangalam, so it is called so Anemangalam copper plate. When Dutch occupied the Nagapattinam, they recovered this copper plate and they have taken to their museum. Now it is at Leiden Museum. So it is known as Leiden copper plate of Rajaraja. So in this copper plate, he has categorically mentioned all the processes in Sanskrit portions as well as Tamil. It has two portions. One is, the first portion is Sanskrit, the other one is Tamil. This is the copper plate of Vindalur. I have already mentioned this is the 86 plates consisting stuck together in one ring. Then pillar inscriptions. We have pillar inscriptions, already Asokan pillar inscriptions we have, but pillar inscriptions are otherwise known as a Jayastamba or Kirtistamba, erected for the memory of the king's victories. The Allahabad pillar inscription is the quite example of this kind, in which the victories of Samudragupta is narrated in a poetic manner. The Mandasore pillar inscription of Yasodharman is another noteworthy example of victory stamba. Some pillar inscriptions are religious oriented. They are Garuda Stamba, Besnagar pillar inscription, Vishnu Jwaja Stamba, Megruli pillar inscription, so on. Private donors, apart from the royal issuing royal orders, many individuals also gave some donations and they issued copper plates as well as inscriptions. It is generally donated to the temples. The private individuals' donations of lands or coins or lamps or food offerings or cattle to the temple are narrated in the inscription. Sometimes construction of temple or installation of images or temple components are also explained in the inscriptions. They issued inscriptions. Memorial inscription. This is most important inscription from the people. The memorial inscription are vary in nature. In memory of honor or deceased person, it is issued. They are variously referred to as Lati or Yati or St in Sanskrit, Yati pillar. Then Sayakamba and Chayastamba in Nagarjunakonda we have. Virakkal. Virakkal we have in South India. It is variously known as Masikal, Sadikal, Hero stone, then many forms. We have many types of Virakkal in South India. Large number of Virakkal in South India reveals the social history of the pastoral and agricultural people. In Karnataka, Andhra and Tamil Nadu, hero stones are plenty. During the time of Pallavas, many hero stones are noticed in the northern part of Tamil Nadu. Particularly in the peripheral area, the local people issued these hero stones. The chieftains, the petty kingdoms also issued hero stones. They issued not only to the heroes but also to the animal. Sadi stone or Magasadikal or Masi stone is erected for self-immolation by widows' wives. It is found entire South India, all over South India, particularly in Karnataka, we have this kind of Masikal hugely. In Karnataka and Andhra, the Sadi stone with inscriptions are found plenty with 3 or 5 portions. This is the earliest hero stone inscriptions without a figure we have come across in Tamil Nadu at Puliman Kombai. near Theni Taluk of southern part of Tamil Nadu. We have 3 inscriptions of Brahmi characters. This is the earliest hero stone inscription so far found in India. Again at Tadapatti also near Theni we have another hero stone. Then another one is hero stone inscription of Pallavas. In Tamil Nadu, the earliest hero stone cattle raiding and rescuing the village from enemies. For the purpose only they issued hero stones. Sometime not only to the heroes but also to the animal, the people erecting the memorial stones. For instance, bullfighting and cockfighting, they erected memorial stones. These are the hero stones of Pallava period in Vatteluthu character in Dharmaburi and as well as in Changam, Thiruvannamalai area. The hero is having a bow and arrow and fighting to each other. This is the very important memorial stone inscription. This is the cockfighting memorial stone. When the cock fought with another cock and died in the cockfighting, and for that purpose, in memory of that, the people erected a memorial stone with the inscriptions. Then label inscriptions. So in the early inscriptions, we have only label 1 or 2 lines inscriptions. Even afterward, in the medieval period also, we have come across this kind of label inscriptions. Sculptures and other images, sometimes narrative the events in single line or in label. The quite examples are the portrait sculptures of Sadavahana, the story of Nayanmars at Dharaswaram. Each and every sculpture having the story of Nayanmars. If you look into it, immediately you can recognize the story of Nayanmars which is narrated in the literature. Some label inscriptions were also used in painting. Painting of Ajanta Cave 17 and Nayak's painting at Tanjavur Pragadishwara Temple narrated labels with the paintings. This is the Dharaswaram label inscriptions narrating the story of Nayanmar with the red ochre label inscription. This is label inscriptions from Mamallapuram. It mentions the sculptor who created the that 7 pagodas or Panchapandava Rathas. His name is Sadamukhiyan in Tamil in label inscription. This is also from Kanjipuram. All Grantha characters in label narrated the events of historical events of Pallavas. Then pilgrims and travelers records. Visits of pilgrims are narrated in various sites, especially on the path walls of temples. Example, if you go to Tirupati temple, the path walls having a lot of label inscriptions. It mentions the pilgrims' names. Whenever they visited, they engraved on the walls. Sometime with a figure of person who visited to the temple along with names found on the floor of the pathway in many temples. With the sculptural representations, label inscriptions also we have. Then cultic and literary inscriptions. Cultic inscriptions are the records having contents purely religious. The missing portion of Devaram hymns sung by Nayanmars we have in Tamil country. It engraved on the temple walls in inscriptions. Devotional or moral verses also found on the walls. Some inscriptions reveals literary wealthy also. At Tiruchirappalli, the lower rock cut caves on the rear wall bear the Andadi is a kind of a literary form, is engraved in verse form. In the details addressed in inscription are in this type. For example, Ahalayuddha Sosla in praise of Shiva. Rajaraja Nadaga referred to in Tanjavur temple and Lalita Vigraha Raja Nadaga and Aragalli Nadaga are as literary inscription examples. Seals and coins inscriptions. Seals and coins, we have seals and coins along with the inscriptions. Inscriptions on seals and sealings also worthy to note. They are legal or administrative documents which are protect the royal issues. Seals typically comprise of graphic or symbolic device accompanied by a legend. Coins also having the same type with the royal emblems on auspicious signs and the legend of the issuing kings. All the copper plates mostly having the seals along with the royal seals and combined together. These are the seals and coins. This is the seals with the Brahmi Kuravan and also the coin on the obverse reverse we have the legend with the bust of the king. Then miscellaneous inscriptions. Many more miscellaneous inscriptions are there which are not fit into the above category. Badami inscription of Vallabheshwara commemorating the fortification of the hill of Vadabi. Uttarameru inscription of Parandaga reflects the election system code of conducts and election procedures and qualifications of members are narrated these inscription. It do not come into the category of religion or donations, which we have mentioned earlier. Then there are quite a number of irrigational tanks are having inscriptions for regulating the water. They are known as sluice stone, Kumudi or Karkumudi, etc. In Tamil Nadu and Andhra, we have this kind of sluices which bears the inscription. At Pudukkottai alone, we have large number of sluice stone. Recently, we have discovered. Oil press stone also, we have inscriptions on the oil. In order to produce oil, they donated the oil press stone. Gilt stone inscriptions also, we have quite a number in South India. The gilt stone inscriptions, we have Nana Desi Disayari Ainutruvar and Disayari Ainutruvar, Ayyapozhil. Large number of gilts were narrated in the inscriptions. This is the sluice stone inscriptions at Pudukkottai region. On the sluices, we have inscription. It narrates the installation of sluices, how they regulate the water for the agriculture purpose. It is narrated in the inscriptions. The other types of inscriptions, besides the Dharmalipi, Yubasasana, sacrificial post, Sambasasana, pillars, we have Pratima Sasana, that image inscriptions. They are either in stone or in bronze. On the pedestal of the Nagapattinam Buddhist images, we have inscriptions. Name of the donor is mentioned in the images. Kraya Sasana, the sale of land sale of house site or land sales are coming in this section. These are sale deeds. Then we have Abhaya Sasana, edict of protection. If one who seek help to protect from the enemy, the protector declared and issued inscription, it is known as Abhaya Sasana. In the dry zone of Pudukkottai region, this kind of Abhaya Sasanas we have plenty. They are referred to as Anjinan Pugaidam, the abode of the people who sought help from the enemy in Tamil. So this kind of inscriptions we have lot of in the dry zone area. So from this type of inscriptions, we come to know the political, social, economic history of ancient India and medieval India, and the king's conquest and other details are narrated elaborately in the inscriptions and copper plates. Above discussions clearly indicates various types of and forms of inscriptions. They provide valuable information on political, social, economic and religious conditions of that time. Not only kings, individuals have also been given donations, issued inscriptions. The local issues, particularly the hero stones issued by local authorities, authenticated the king name as well as their regnal year, clearly indicating their involvement in the administrative system of ancient India. For further information on this subject, please visit EPG Padasala.